Hi, welcome back. Hope you're well. First and foremost, going to address the elephant in the room. If in the past few videos you've seen a lot of clips with me with my fringe up, and obviously probably throughout the entirety of this video my fringe is going to be clipped up, my hairdresser decided to give me a micro fringe, so it's like literally cut up here, even though that is not what I asked for. So I have to wait for it to grow out and then fix it myself. So if my fringe is clipped up, it's because I'm still growing out a micro fringe that I didn't ask for. And if you can't tell, still angry about it. This only happened like a week ago, so I'm very mad. I have to walk around like this looking like a little schoolgirl. I don't like it, but whatever. Point is, we're here with a fun, new, exciting video. I haven't seen this reading challenge be done at all by anyone else, but maybe it has been, I don't know, but I didn't take this idea from anyone, so. But considering I'm just in a hateful mood, I was thinking about all the tropes that I hate, and then I thought, wouldn't it be an excruciatingly painful yet fun idea to read books about tropes that I hate? So, welcome to part 1, because so far I have at least 2 parts planned out because I hate a lot of tropes. But yeah, I don't know, I just was thinking about it and I thought it'd be fun because there have been books that are tropes that I hate that I actually did enjoy and I thought it went well, and then there are others that weren't. So I'm excited to try this. I don't expect to like any of the books that I read, but you know, it's going to be fun regardless. So I am excited for that, and ironically enough, at least for this video, the part 2 I haven't planned out as much yet, but all of the books that I'm reading are books that I have been wanting to read for some of them over a year now, but because of the fact that they're tropes that I hate. If you can hear the lorry, I'm sorry. They come every day at this time and I need to go out and do some stuff, so I don't have another time to film this. So I'm sorry if that bothers you. All of the books that I am reading in this video are books that I have been wanting to read, some of them for over a year now. The only reason I haven't is because I know they're tropes that I hate, so I've been putting it off. So it's actually kind of fun because it is books that I want to read, but they're tropes that I hate. So I put them off and now I'm finally reading them, and I'm very excited to see if I'll like them, to see if I'll like the trope used in them. I don't think I'll like the trope, but it's exciting. So the first trope that I will be reading is the time loop trope, and for this book I will be reading See You Yesterday. So at this point in filming, I actually have already started the book. I'm about 30-ish% of the way through, and just as I suspected, I don't like it. So the reason I don't like time loop tropes is because I just find them too repetitive, and even though different things are happening and they're doing different things during the time loop to figure out, I can't get with it. It is too repetitive. It is like, we get it. You're waking up every day on the same day, or like wrong place, wrong time. She's like traveling back in time or whatever, but I hate it so much. In general, I'm just not a fan of time travel either, but time loops I just specifically loathe because they're just so repetitive and I find them so boring, and I don't like them. I really just don't like them. There's nothing about them that I enjoy. And See You Yesterday is a time loop trope. She wakes up on the first day of uni over and over and over and over again, and she basically has to try and figure out how to get out of it. And it's so dull. It truly is. And the actual book isn't bad by any means. It's purely the fact that it is a storyline that I hate, a trope that I hate. The actual book isn't that bad, but it's just, like I said, we guess it. You're stuck in a time loop. You need to get out of it. I can't do it, and I'm not liking it. I'm obviously going to finish the book because I want to know how she gets out of the time loop. But yeah, it's just, it is a love story, so there's kind of a romance, but nothing's really happening with it yet. And then there's like used to be best friends but they hate each other, so they need to make up kind of situation going on. And for the most part, I just feel like I would have enjoyed it more if it was without the time loop part and it was just like her first semester term in uni and she was figuring out how to deal with all of this. But If you are a fan of the time loop trope and you like young adult books, then I do think this book you would probably enjoy quite a bit, because like I said, I think it's pretty well written. The characters are pretty interesting. It's definitely more on the diverse side, which is always nice. The only thing that is stopping me from actually enjoying this book is the fact that it is one of my most hated tropes. Definitely. So that is where I'm at. I will check in a little bit later. I don't know if I'm gonna do multiple check-ins for these books, or maybe just like an intro and an end, or just one check-in of my thoughts, but that is where I'm at. I'm only, like I said, about 35-ish% of the way through, so there might be a little switcheroo, we don't know. However, I'm only 35-ish% of the way through, and she has already lived the same day like at least 7 times, so odds are I'm probably just going to be driven insane, but we will see. Yeah, I doubt I'm gonna like most of these books, but I mean, it's fun. I'm happy I'm finally giving these books a chance, so that's nice. At least it's books off of my want to read list. So I'll be back with an update, and who knows, maybe I'll be a changed person after this. Definitely not after the time loop trope, but after maybe some of the other tropes, but we'll see. We'll see what this has in store. I'm excited, so I will be back. So I'm back, and I finished See You yesterday. It was actually very enjoyable, which kind of surprised me. Normally, because I hate the time loop trope so much, I just don't enjoy the stories, but with this story I did actually end up enjoying it quite a bit, which was a really nice surprise. I thought the characters were great, the romance was really sweet, and I think the reason that I ended up enjoying this a lot more than I usually do is because in this story 2 characters are stuck in the time loop, not just one, which made things seem a bit less repetitive because they would do different things to try and get out of the time loop. Conversations were different. It wasn't just a normal time loop where every single day is the same except what the main character is doing. So that was really fun. In general, also, this is the second book that I read by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and her books just fall in like a very feel-good category for me. The other book I read was Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow, I think the name is. It's the blue cover. But yeah, I did read that one, and that one was pretty fun too. Her books definitely aren't necessarily favorites or anything like that, but they're very feel-good comfort movies, almost like Hallmark type of movies, where it's just like, I just want to have a good time and I want to feel good reading this. So I do like her writing, and I did like the story because it's just heartwarming, I guess you could say. And the other thing I like about her books is that 1, they're very diverse, and 2, the characters are very normal people. They're not like these supermodel looking people, 6'5", buff, super skinny, hourglass figure type of people. They're all very normal people, but the characters still, like the romantic characters, still look at each other in the same way that they would if they were like a supermodel or anything like that. I don't know if that makes sense. But point is, the characters are just very normal looking people, but still described as these utterly beautiful, handsome, gorgeous human beings, which I absolutely love. Listen, I like my supermodel characters sometimes, you know? But I also do like normal characters. I like normal people who have their flaws, have their little quirks, yada yada yada, and they're still considered to be beautiful and amazing and whatever. So I really love that. And in general, didn't like the time loop part, but this book, I was just very lucky in the fact that it didn't affect the story for me and liking the story. So that was fun. That being said, I definitely have not changed my mind at all about this trope. I will not be reaching for time loops anytime soon or very purposefully unless I really want to read the book. It's still not a trope that I like, and this book didn't change that for me. This book was just an anomaly. So yeah, but it was fun, and I'm happy that I ended up picking this book for this trope because at least 1 out of the 4 was an enjoyable experience. So anyway, on to the next one. Then The next trope that I will be doing is the celebrity trope. And before I tell you what book I'm reading, I'm just gonna give a little disclaimer with this one. This trope I don't really hate. It's a very strange trope for me in the sense that when I find out a book is about, like, one of them is famous or both of them are famous, I'm immediately put off by it. But every book that I have read that has been a celebrity trope, whether it's one or both, I've really enjoyed. So it's very strange because I've never really read a celebrity trope that I disliked, but for some reason the idea of the trope very much turns me off of a book. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer because I guess it's not really an I hate this trope, and it's more so just this trope is weird for me because, again, when actually reading it, it's fine, but I don't know. My brain is just weird with this specific trope. So, disclaimer over, that's just how I feel and wanted to let you guys know. But the book that I will be picking up for this one is How to Fake It in Hollywood by Ava Wilder. So at this point of filming, I have already started it and I'm about 22% of the way through. The reason I picked this book was because I was in the bookstore one day and my boyfriend actually read the back and said he thinks it's something that I would enjoy. And I largely think that's because it's a fake dating trope, which he was correct. I do like that trope. I'm not really going to give my opinions on the book that much now because I don't feel like I'm far enough into it to be able to give an opinion. And to be perfectly honest, I've been going through a reading slump massively this month. In general, just haven't been paying the most attention to this book, which is bad, but I'm gonna try really hard to change that today. So I'm not really gonna give my opinion. So far, it's really. Don't hate it, don't love it, it's fine. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. I'll be back when I have finished this, and hopefully, I'm really hoping that despite the fact that I dislike all of these tropes in this video, they will end up like the first trope where I actually kind of like the books, despite the fact that I don't like the tropes, or maybe even just I like the tropes after this, but we will see. I will say so far that since I zoned out a little bit, I don't know the characters that well, and this book seems like it's gonna be fairly spicy, which I'm nervous for because I absolutely hate listening to spice. I can read spice, I cannot listen to it. We'll see, but I am excited for this book a little bit because it is a fake dating trope with two celebrities where they're both trying to get publicity. So that's just a very fun idea. And I also like this is a fake dating scenario, which is actually very realistic and probably has been done multiple times in real life. So that's fun, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So I will be back once I've finished this book, and I'll let you know. Hello. So I'm back with an update. I actually ended up DNFing How to Fake It in Hollywood. It wasn't so much the celebrity trope that made me fake it as much as it was just the fact that I found the characters so incredibly dull and unlikable. I DNF'd it at 42%, which is chapter 14 or 4 hours and 27 minutes into the book, and I just didn't like them. I thought they were super boring and just the story wasn't fun, and it was way too spicy, even though there wasn't even any spice at the point that I'd read it, but just their internal monologue was too much. So I really didn't like it. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the characters. There was nothing about the book that I didn't like. So that's kind of lame because I was hoping if I DNF'd something, it would be because of the trope, not because of the book. So I can't even really say whether or not the trope bothered me because I was just bothered by the entire book in general, that I don't know, I couldn't do it. So that wasn't fun, that was a little lame, but you know what, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I'm just happy that I stopped it because genuinely that book was making me miserable, and I've been going through the absolute worst reading slump this month, so it wasn't helping. I was making it worse. I was hating everything, so I'm happy that I DNF'd it, but very lame. Was not happy about it, so that's unfortunate, but on to the next trope, I guess. So The next trope that I'm going to be reading that I absolutely despise is the pregnancy trope, which I'm sure many of you this wouldn't come as a surprise to, because I think the pregnancy trope is a pretty hated trope in general. But yes, I don't really think I've read any books with the pregnancy trope. I'm just not really interested in the trope. I don't know. Again, it's a very disliked trope as far as I'm aware. So if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. I don't know. But for this trope, I decided to pick up Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake. This wasn't my first choice. There were two other books that I wanted to pick up for this trope because I'd known that they were pregnancy tropes, but they also just sounded very interesting to me in general. But they weren't available at my library, and I was just not in the mood to search for other places to read it or to buy them, so I just decided to find a different pregnancy trope book, and this is one of the few that were not only available at my library but immediately available at my library. So Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake. As I'm filming this, I'm only about 22% of the way through. I have not gotten far. She doesn't even know that she's pregnant yet, so yeah. The one thing that I did not consider going into the pregnancy trope is that there will be spice, like immediately, which I wasn't that big of a fan of personally. Like, I barely knew the character and she was already just going crazy, which is fine, no hate to her or anything like that, but I'm not a fan of, like, I don't know, I want to at least see some connection with the characters before spice, but you know, it's fine, it's whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Point is, just not something I considered going into it, and then when it happened, I was both very surprised and also irritated that I didn't consider it. Other than that, again, not very far into it, so I don't have too much to say, but I feel like this might have potential to be a liked story by me, despite the fact that it's a pregnancy trope. The character, I'm a bit iffy on. I don't know if I like her yet. The main guy as well, he's been very minimally into the story so far. He's Australian, so he actually just left to go back to Australia, so kind of just iffy on it right now. I'm very nervous for this trope. This is the second most scary trope that I'm doing. The most scary, and the one that I'm absolutely petrified for, is the final trope, but I'll get into that when it's time for that one. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that it's not as bad as I'm expecting it to be. I think I'm also just scared because I've literally never read it before. I just know I don't like it, so this is just very new for me in general. That is where I'm at. I will check back in once I finish the book. I am very nervous to continue, so wish me luck, and I will see you when I see you. I am back, and I've officially finished Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake, and I ended up giving this 2 stars. So this challenge isn't going well. For a little bit, I did feel bad giving this a 2 stars because it felt like I was judging it purely based on the trope, but then I thought about it for a day and I realized it was beyond the trope that I did not like this book. So I really didn't like the main character. I thought she was very childish and annoying. And in general, she just irritated me a lot. And I don't have ADHD, so I can't necessarily speak on how her ADHD was portrayed. But I just want to say I didn't dislike her because she had ADHD. I disliked her because of her personality. So I just wanted to make that part clear. It has nothing to do with her being neurodivergent. It's simply just that her personality was incredibly childish and frustrating to read about, and I really hated that she was growing up because she was pregnant. Like, that's not, like, getting pregnant is not suddenly going to, like, raise your maturity levels or anything like that. Like, that's not how it works. So it was just incredibly frustrating to read about. Also, the smut was bad, and a full stop, no explanation. It was just bad, and that's not even me just not having a tendency to enjoy smut. It was just genuinely bad spice, so sorry. And then last but most definitely not least, this book did just solidify that the pregnancy trope is just not for me. There was not a single part about it that I enjoyed, and it's definitely not a trope that I'm going to seek out ever again. That being said though, I do find it tolerable enough to the point where if there's a book that I really want to read and it does involve the trope, or if it's like a series and it gets involved, I definitely could live through reading it. However, that's like oh, this is in the series and I am enjoying the series, so I just have to get through this part, or something else about this book is something I really want to read about, but it just has the unfortunate circumstances of having the pregnancy trope. For example, Babymoon or Bust, I think it's called. I really do want to read because that just sounds kind of funny. So this is a trope where it's like I will avoid it, but there may be a few books that are an exception. So, you know, at least this challenge is providing me the opportunity to solidify the fact that I don't like these tropes. So, on to the next and final one. Thank goodness. Here we are finally at the last trope. Now, as you could probably tell, this trope is the love interest dies at the end. So I actually decided to put this trope last because it's kind of spoilery, so I don't want anybody to watch this and be spoiled. So I'm going to give a couple of hints about what this book is, and then you can make an informed decision on whether or not you want to watch this segment of the video, because again, don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So the love interest dies at the end of this book, or in this book. This is a villain origin story, and it is by an author who writes a lot of retellings, and this is also a retelling. So that is the only hints that I'm going to give. So make a decision. If you want to watch to the end, by all means go ahead, but just keep in mind that you know the love interest dies, so that's kind of a little bit of a spoiler. But alas, if you're still here, if you are still here, the book that I will be reading for this trope is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. And basically this is an Alice in Wonderland retelling about the Queen of Hearts. So it's the Queen of Hearts villain origin story. I have watched several reading vlogs about this, some spoilers, some not spoilers, so that's how I knew that the love interest dies at the end, and that's why I thought this would be a good book for the series, because I did want to read it, but because of that, it is very intimidating because I like happy endings. And I don't think this one's going to be a happy ending. That being said, I am excited to finally read it, get it off my shelf. I have read Marissa Meyer before, and the audiobooks are really fun. They're very magical. So it was a good time. I'm excited. I am also nervous. I am expecting to cry, which you won't be seeing. I'll just let you know if I did. But yes, that is the book that I'm choosing. Just rest assured, will not be spoiling anything else. Just the ending. So I'm joking, but yeah. I will be back once I've finished reading this. I think I'll be a changed woman, but we'll see. I'm excited to read it, terrified but excited, and I'm also excited for this challenge to be over so that I can take a break and read books that I like again. I do think I'll probably do a part 2 though, because there are some other tropes that I don't like that I just think it would be fun. Like, I think this is a fun idea, so you know. But I'll be back once I've finished. Please wish me luck. I'm terrified. So I finished Heartless, and my only non-spoiler review is wow. So don't, if you at some point want to read this and you don't want any spoilers, don't watch the review. Just goodbye. Thank you for watching. But yes, okay, so obviously the trope for this book is the love interest dies at the end. So I went into this book knowing that Jess dies. And for that reason, I think mostly subconsciously, I didn't really let myself get attached to any of the characters, which I don't want to say kind of sucked because it saved me a lot of heartache, but it definitely did defeat the whole purpose of a sad ending. That being said though, still very difficult to get through. I did enjoy Jess's character a lot, and let me tell you, as soon as Catherine turned around to go save Marianne, I knew what was about to happen, and I was so upset. Marianne did not deserve a bad ending at all. She was trying her hardest to be a good friend, but let me tell you, I kind of wished Catherine just left her. I was like, no, don't do this. You're gonna like, I was so upset. So even though I didn't cry, and even though I definitely did kind of detach myself from any characters, it was still hard to get through, regardless of if I cried or not. And even though it did defeat the purpose of the book a little bit, I'm very happy I did not experience that blindly. That would have been tough. That would have been very, very tough. And I'm happy that I didn't have to do that. So that being said, I felt so bad for Catherine. She truly deserved a happy ending. She just wanted to open a bakery with her best friend and be with Jess, and she really did deserve that. She was not a bad person. Her parents were kind of awful to her, and it was so sad when her parents were like, well, is marrying the king really what you want? We just want to make sure you're happy. That was after Jess had already died and everything had already happened. It was so sad, because it's just like, you guys, like, they were so selfish up until that point and didn't listen to her, and then all these bad things happened to her and she had completely turned evil at that point, which honestly, rightfully, I get it. If I were in her shoes, I can't say I would not have turned evil. Like, that was like a tragedy. So it just really sucks for her, and it was really painful when her parents finally prioritized her feelings, and it was too late at that point. And the king was such a ditz. I don't blame her for not wanting to marry him. He was just this cowardly little man that just was kind of annoying. I thought it was sweet at first, but the more it's just like, it's just annoying, you know? In general though, would I read this trope again? Not willingly. I think if I read this trope again, I wouldn't know that it's this trope, unless I did like a reading sad books vlog or something, which I don't think I would do, because I don't like being sad and I value my happiness, and that's just not something I want to set out to do. So yeah. I don't think I would read this again. Not that it's not a bad trope by any means, but it's just so sad. And I'm gonna be very honest with you, I'm kind of a hopeless romantic, and the love interest dies at the end trope, I can't take it. I can't do it. It makes me so sad. I just want a happy ending. Like, literally, when I first started reading, I would read the last few pages of the book to make sure that it was a happy ending before I actually read the book. Like, I would literally be sitting in a bookstore reading the first chapter to make sure that it interests me, and then I would read the last few pages to make sure that it was a happy ending. I have since stopped doing that. That was only for the first few months of my reading journey. However, I want a happy ending. I really do want a happy ending, and the love interest dies at the end is not a happy ending. So, we'll not be reading this trope again, not willingly. If you see me reading this trope again, know that I did not choose to do that. It came at me at a surprise. Was this a fun video? Not really, no. I purposely picked up 4 books that I knew I wouldn't like to some capacity. However, it was still fun. Gonna be perfectly honest, I do love complaining, so it was fun regardless of the fact that I didn't enjoy the books, and I did enjoy the fact that I was giving tropes a shot I normally wouldn't have, because despite the fact that my intuition was correct and I didn't end up enjoying most, if not all of these, I'm happy that I at least like gave them that shot to prove to me that I wouldn't like them. And I do actually have a few more tropes, so I do think in the future I will be doing a part 2 to this. However, it won't be soon. It might be mid to end of 2024 if I do this, but I do have a few more tropes that I'd be willing to give a shot, even though I hate the tropes, so we'll see. Out of all of these tropes, which one is your least favorite, and are there any of these tropes that you actually love? Let me know. If you like me or my videos, I would really appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.